United States of America, President Barack Obama.
Good to see you. I just want to say everybody back home, right back at you. We appreciate you. You always get the straight talk.
And welcome to Straight Talk. Well, today we're going to get a little deep. We're going to get into a little politics and what politics is all about and what we are supposed to be doing politically to preserve our communities, our people, our rights, everything, to preserve everything about us. Well, today we have with us one of the lawmakers of Illinois. You know what that is? It's called a state senator, Senator Patricia Van Pelt.
Yes.
How you doing, Pat?
I'm blessed. How are you today?
Are you blessed?
Oh, yes,
too.
I am.
I am too. Introduce the famous Sabre person next to you.
All right. Miss Brenda Golden.
Executive Director of New Hope.
Sabre person.
Sabre person. Well, we all out trying to save people.
Right,
Yes.
right. That's what we have to do.
Tell us about that, Brenda.
I'm Executive Director of New Hope Community Service Center, located at 2559 West 79th Street. We've been in existence since 1991, providing services to victims of domestic violence and substance abuse. We recently just added a methadone program to our organization as of the 1st of January. And those services are very well needed in our community and in our society. And to empower our people to build themselves back up, believe that they still have a future, and move forward. And a lot of it is just needing some support and resources.
And I think that sort of thing works because you know people need to know that there's still somebody, even though you've gone through some rough edges, but it's just a rough edge. It didn't take your whole life.
Right. And that's so important. That's why it's really important to have organizations like Ms. Golden's organization available to give people a hand up. Not a handout, but a hand up. Because what we want to try to do is help as many people as possible improve their lives. That's my whole goal. That's the reason why I'm in public office. Now, it's about improving lives.
Are you in there to lead people or are you in there to serve people?
To serve.
Hello?
Because
Hello.
I'm there to represent the interests and ideas of the people that voted me in, not my own interests and ideas, but theirs. Now, if there ever come a time when I can't represent them because of my own personal situations, circumstances, then it's time for me to resign. But
You know,
as long
Patricia,
as...
you're a minister.
Yes, I am.
And you understand that, okay, if we had all ministers probably who with the enlightenment, say, that you have, then we wouldn't have problems in the state of Illinois.
Well,
I'm talking
not
about
sure.
just those from the black community. It doesn't have to be from other communities. Well, see, those from our community don't realize that they are there to serve this community, serve the needs of this community, not just serve the community, serve the needs of this community. Oh, I lead this such and such award. I need this such and such lead. You don't lead nothing. You're there to serve these people.
Right. That's the reason why they elected us, to represent them, not to
Right.
represent our own ideas. But you know, I look at it like this. We have so many challenges in the state of Illinois. My district runs from Cicero on the west end all the way to downtown. From as far south as 26th Street. I go all the way up to Webster, which is Wicker Park, Bucktown. So I have a very, very diverse set of constituents. There's 200,000 constituents in the 5th District. And they have different ideas. I have the very rich and I have the very poor, because I have Lawndale. I have North Lawndale and I have Bucktown. So I have, the people it's a big expanse of ideas there, income and ideas and housing and everything. So people have different ideas about what they want to see happen in this state. And it's my job to try to weave those those thoughts and come up with a common idea for how we can move forward. And that's what I do.
And I imagine, Brenda, you do the same thing when you're dealing with
The poor population.
that
as well
population that don't know who they are.
that don't know who they are, that have given up, that don't feel they have any hope or people care. It's a struggle, but as the senator also stated, is they have to realize they have people out there that care. Right. And you can't stop caring for the people because something else has went wrong. You have to find another avenue. And people have to realize there are other avenues that they have to have. And with the state being in the situation that they're in now, we have to empower ourselves.
Right.
We can't be dependent on one entity. And we have to find that common denominator that brings us together to help each other, especially as a race of people.
And I guess that kind of brings us to the conference that I'm putting on called the Advanced Life Revelation. It's about us learning how to use the power, the personal power that we have to turn things around in our own lives. So what Brenda is doing is working with people right where they are, getting them on their feet. It's like a hand up to try to help them to get up. The next step is for them to go forward and begin to progress in life. And the Advanced Life Conference is all about advancing in this life. We've seen so many advancements in technology and medicine and science, but very little advancement of the human mind. So it's time for a rise in consciousness so we can meet the challenges of our time. And that's what that conference is about. It will be on February 19th at the South Loop Hotel at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's a 4-hour conference, but it's the first step into seeing who we really are. There's a quote by Oliver Holmes Jr. that says, "The human mind, once stretched by a new idea, never regains its original dimensions." The human mind, once stretched by a new idea, never regains its original dimensions. And that's what the conference is about. It's about stretching the mind so that we can see that there's a whole lot of things that we can do. And Brenda,
Exactly.
you were there.
I was at the conferences. I went there because even as a professional, you need to uplift yourself. You need to empower yourself so that you can pass that information on to others. We deal with a lot of victims of domestic violence, and these women, they are emerging so quickly. So I'm excited about getting them to the next level, which is being self-empowered, that they don't have to be dependent on men or anybody to abuse them, so that they can take the technology, the physical elements, the spirituality, and uplift themselves. And this conference gives those elements for those women to go to the next stage, similar to the 12-step program. So we're taking that in another dimension and incorporating that in those life areas that Senator is offering in her conference. Very enlightening. It brings our inner soul, shows us that not only saying that we are someone, but knowing that we can tread those waters and do whatever we want to do, and that we have choices.
And yeah, we all have choices, but are we utilize those choices? What we do in the black community is look for someone to tell us what to do, how to do it, when to do it.
Yeah, a lot of people do, but let me give you an example. My mother, she was in her 20s, early mid-20s, had 7 children. My dad was in a terrible car accident, so he had brain damage. And so Mom only had a 6th grade education and no job. So she had to find a way to bring her 7 children out of the Cabrini Green projects. She made up her mind that she was not going to let her children die in the projects. She was 25 with 7 kids with a 6th grade education. Within 5 years, she went back and got her elementary school diploma, got a GED, got a college degree, landed a good job, bought a house. Actually, it was out in Roseland in 1970 when all the houses out in Roseland were, it was a booming place to be. She moved all of her children out of Cabrini Green by herself as a single parent in 5 years and bought a home. Now that shows that there are people that want to get out. People want a way out, but in many cases they don't know the way out. My mom read. She always read, even though she only had a 6th grade education. She read a lot. And she was always involved with politics and struggle and all that. So she was really about not being pushed down, not being sat down, but she was all about achieving. And so she put that in front of us, in front of me. I mean, I grew up right down the street, 113th and Yale. I went to high school here in Roseland. So there are people that want better, but a lot of times they can get entangled. And that's why what Brenda is doing is an excellent program to help those that have gotten entangled and say to themselves, look, I want this and I want more. And Advanced Life Revelation Conference is about how to get more. So it's going to be an excellent conference. I hope I can get you there.
Let's talk about that conference. Where is it going to be?
It's going to be at the South Loop Hotel.
South Loop Hotel. That's on 22nd and State.
The 26th and State.
26th and State.
The Chicago South Loop Hotel at 10 a.m. in the morning on February 19th. Now that's a Monday, but it's President's Day, and a lot of people are off that day. So it's an excellent, excellent conference.
And if you talk to Tony, you probably get him to come down and tape it.
Oh, that would be fantastic. That'd be fantastic.
And what I'm hoping to do is pay 4 or 5 of our women that are ready to go to that next stage to attend that conference so they can feel the power of the spirituality and technology, how they can go to the next stage.
Yeah, that's a very ambitious, it's a very ambitious approach. But don't you think it takes a little more than that for a person to just do what we think they should do? Like for instance, for 25 or 30, almost 30 years now, we've been working with the one idea. And I'm hoping that one idea will pop open one day. And that is to understand what economics is all about.
Yes.
We're making $75 billion a year in Chicago, and we're unemployed? That's ridiculous. See, we're looking for someone else to employ us instead of us employing ourselves.
And that's what the conference offers.
How
you can become rich, how you can become your own provider.
Well, how do you become employed?
Well, that's
You spend whatever money you have to spend in your community, and you will employ yourself and others.
Right.
It's true. That is a concept that definitely seems to make sense, that it will work.
It's working all over the world. It's working with everyone but us.
And
We
this
run into
is-
other folks, in other communities. It doesn't matter about other folks. We don't care who's in the community, as long as the money is spent in the community where you get an opportunity to get a job.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Okay? So, but we prefer to go outside the community. That's where the best meats are going to be. You're not supposed to eat meat anyway.
That's the belief that's been put out there. But you can't stop giving up. If we can get 5 or 10 people to change their thought process, they can spread it to 5 or 10 people.
That's right.
And if that means that means we keep pushing this information to you. We keep helping you believe. Like most of our teenagers, they don't believe, a lot of them, if they're not pushed to go to college or believe there's alternatives outside of their communities, they're become hostage to their community.
That's right.
Well, we want to bring you out of realizing that you're not hostage to that community. These are some things you can do to empower yourself. We have the technology. We have the science. Now, if that means we have to sit down and teach you how to use that or educate you how to use that, along with faith, then so be it.
Because the one thing that makes people succeed or fail is what they believe inside, what the consciousness says to them. You can have 5 guys all come out of prison, the same education, same circumstance. One of them will excel, 2 of them go back to prison, and then 2 of them will be begging. They all have the same opportunity, but it's the way they see their lives, who they see themselves as.
Right.
And that's why the conference is powerful. It weaves a tapestry to show who you really are and how to corral your personal power so that you can achieve and become your best self. So it's a powerful, powerful conference.
When I was 19 years old, I told my best friend, I said, man, I got to hurry up and become a policeman because I don't want to be a private detective as an old man. And I got to be a policeman above the rank of patrolman for 3 years before I could take the exam as a private detective. He said, man, you've been talking that stuff ever since we were little kids. You talk about being a policeman and a private detective. I said, yeah. He said, now you've grown up. By now you should know guys like us don't become no policemen. I said, wow.
That's his
He think like that about himself.
That's his mindset.
I backed away from him.
Right.
Wouldn't go back to him until I got my star.
And that's the same way with our people. They have to know there are some people are doers, and there are some people that are content where they are. And if you want to be above that, you're going to have to be with the doers. And that means taking advantage of those opportunities that are out there for you.
I wouldn't give up on him though. You wouldn't give up. I just couldn't go back around him until I
You got yourself
accomplished
together.
what I wanted to accomplish.
Right.
then go back and show him, hey man, we are like everybody else. We can be anything that anybody else can be. And if you follow your dreams, not what someone else say you can't be or you can be. What do you want to do?
Right.
So he said, instead of him accepting it, he said, you were always weird.
But you planted something in him by doing that.
Yeah, because he went from that point, he created the first motorized restaurant, I guess, is what you would call it. He rode around selling food, cooked food in a
right.
He saw that you could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes people just need that spark.
Right.
And people like Brenda, and then also our next guest, who's going to be Carmelita Earls, both of them are leaders that have been able to achieve things that other people say is impossible. They've been able to achieve it. So them coming to the conferences, I feel really honored that they're at the conference, because these are people saying already they're successful already have plenty of assets, doing well. They come in there because they want to go higher and they want to take people higher.
Right.
And that's what's important.
That's all only salvation.
Yes.
That's only salvation. And there's a young man running for re-election in Riverdale, running for re-election as mayor. Well, he was a mayor at one point. He was mayor for 4 years, but he infuriated those people who run that town by equalizing the police department. It was all white policemen. It's a black town, but it's all white policemen, white police chief, white. He changed that, so those people that were spending the money, they got rid of him. So now he's coming back with a vengeance, and he has me on his side.
That's all right.
He haven't given up. He
Right.
haven't given up. He knew it was going to be a struggle.
And now we're going to make a first class, when he take that seat back, we're going to make a first class, we're going to make the model city for Riverdale to show people that we can create black, what do they call it?
Entrepreneurs, business.
No, I can't think of the word. I mean, what? Wall Street.
Black Wall Street, okay.
I like that.
We can create black Wall Streets all over the country. Okay, we had one pastor who had a church with maybe 75 members or 100 members, all on welfare. The Spirit hit him and told him what to do. He said, let's pool our resources, whatever change we got, we're going to open a little supermarket, a little grocery store. They open a grocery store. We will all shop in that grocery store. We won't spend our money any place for groceries but in that store. That grocery store merged into a shopping center where they all had jobs in the shopping center because it was their money that created it. So they took positions in different stores that they created. And that shopping center spread to more shopping centers in the southern area. And they're still doing real big right now. I can't think of, Webb Evans talked about it all the time. Webb Evans went to visit with them all the time, and he brought back a material to show our organization how it can be done. And but the problem with our community is we don't have real business people running businesses.
That's true.
Right, we learn from what we've learned from just picking up
And doing it.
and
No,
doing
we
it.
just decided, man, like a
Go
guy
open
told me once, we were working, I was in the sheriff's department, and he said, man, I'm tired of working. I got a $300,000 settlement on this accident. I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna open me a business. I'm tired of working. I said, you're gonna open a business and you're tired of working?
That's not, that's not the way.
That's when you work the hardest for
Right.
yourself. You work harder for
You
yourself
do.
than you work for anybody else.
Right,
He looked at me and said, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm tired of working. So he left the sheriff's department, opened him a business, stayed in that business for a whole 2 years almost before he was back knocking on the door. Can I have my job back?
Because he found out that it's a lot of
That
work.
business went out of business because he spent the $300,000 trying to do nothing.
And you have to
Instead
work.
of doing
have to
something, he
work.
did nothing.
Yep.
You're right. You work harder for yourself than you ever had before.
And plus, a business person knows how to ingratiate himself to the public,
That's right.
like a real leader. See, he will. What do you call the guy? The fiddler that everybody followed.
Everybody followed the business.
Right.
Yes.
So
Pied Piper.
the Pied Piper knew how to ingratiate himself to the public, and everybody followed him.
That's right.
So I told our business people when I started this organization, we had over 400 people, 400 businesses in the organization coming. Well, not all, but a large crowd every Thursday morning at Kaplan's Hard Time. And we discussed business and discussed how to do it, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
And I explained to them, I said, this is like our country club. Don't come passing out business cards trying to, sell to each other. Become friends with each other and work out plans to attack that public out there. Yeah, you're right. Passing each other business.
I think one of the reasons why we don't see big change in our communities, even with our businesses, is because we're planning for small change. And when you plan for small change, you can reach it.
Right.
But if you plan for something big, you could actually get there as well.
Right.
It's the same energy. And I think that we just playing small ball, small ball. Okay. And I think we need to start thinking about doing greater things, and that's why the Advanced Life Conference is so important for right now.
Right. Well, I don't. You may remember this, Patricia. When I called a meeting of all the black aldermen in the city. They all met at Kaplan's Hard Time with the business people, and I gave them the plan. I said, okay, you guys can't have precinct captains anymore, so the business people will canvass for you on election day.
Right.
The business people will canvass, and they will have a letter from you telling the constituents, if you shop in these list of businesses, we guarantee you that unemployment will go down expeditiously. And man, those aldermen, man, that's the greatest idea since ice cream. So everybody thought it was a great idea. And after the meeting, I asked the aldermen, I said, you guys can leave now. I want to talk with the business people for a minute. When they left, man, I ain't getting out there canvassing with no alderman. I said, did you understand what we were talking about?
Right.
You're not canvassing for the alderman, you're canvassing for yourself, and for,
right.
to build a community and build your economic base.
This is their face you're gonna see. They're gonna see.
Right. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I ain't get out there canvassing for no alderman.
Small thinking.
None business. None business. See, so I couldn't get him off square. So I talked to my vice chairman wasn't there that day because he was vice chairman of Seaway Bank, and they had a meeting on the same date. So he asked me, how did the meeting go, W.R.? I said, it went great, but man, I couldn't get the business people to understand what I was telling them about the canvas. He said, what canvas? I said, I gave him one of the letters. I passed out a letter to everyone. He said, oh, this is great, man. This is what you had in that there? I said, yeah. This is really great. I said, yeah, but get them to go out
Right.
and do
right.
it. He said, man, forget them. Let you and I do it. Yeah, I said, okay. So I went out with him in this community, and people, man, they were so glad to see him. We knew, he's very well known. He has a contract with the to do the laundry for laundry for this White Sox, and he was always on TV and on radio. So I never been to your tailor. You got a tailor shop on Cottage Grove in 87. He said, I never been to your shop, but I'll be there from now on.
Yes. See.
You would take time to come out and find out, ask us our needs and what we need in the community. We got to come and see you.
Yeah.
And to you, that was simple. That
Yes.
this is a simple way for us to get a lot of return on our little effort. But when people's consciousness is so low, they can't conceive
Something that simple.
something that simple.
Right.
Right.
Well, we're going to take a little break and let you guys reflect on some of the things we've talked about and see where we can take it further. So we got to let our people know that we are the greatest.
Yes.
Yes.
Muhammad Ali. We'll be right back.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please,
Don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Chicago, the Windy City, home of the tallest buildings in the world, the home of the Chicago Sound of Soul. One of the architects of the Chicago Sound was Carl Davis. He got his first million-selling single at VJ Records. He was known as the man with the golden ear, a musical guru, the hitman. The Carl Davis Story.
Every now and then I get that feeling, and I've got something I want to say.
One of the great things about being a vegan is that the uniqueness of it.
And I've got to say it my way.
And so gathered with me today are just a sampling of those vegans who have become loyal supporters of Soul Vegetarian.
Welcome to Soul Vegetarian Restaurant.
Tropical World. Come to Golden's Tropical World for tropical fish of all sizes, colors, and types, and other small animals like iguanas and birds from all over the world. There are beautiful tanks, pet supply needs, including dog and cat foods, and expert consultation. Check out Golden's Tropical World, 8611 South Ashland Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. Call ahead, 773-239-8809. Your Pet Shop.
International Detective and Protective Services, 1-773-675-8506. Over 20 years of armed security experience. The very best in shopping mall security, inventory watch, find missing loved ones, investigative open legal cases, community policing. Are you taking a vacation this summer? For peace of mind, you need our House Watch service, cheetah surveillance, and much more. International Detective and Protective Services, 1-773-675-8506. That's 1-773-675-8506. Call now.
And we are back. And you know, Brenda wanted Carmelita to come up and say a few words about the great program that they're involved in. Carmelita?
Hi.
How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
I am marvelous and getting better.
Excellent. Excellent.
You know, Carmelita is a firefighter. She's actually the captain of the firehouse out at O'Hara Airport.
Oh, great.
How long have you been in the fire department?
I'm in my 28th year.
28 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Talking about somebody who believes they can achieve something. That takes something to be an African-American woman in a captain's seat in the firehouse in Chicago. That's powerful.
It is powerful.
Next step, chief. Commissioner.
She took the chief. She's taking the chief's exam, so she's waiting.
But the commissioner, you don't have to take the exam. Just be appointed by the mayor.
Uh-huh.
You know, Superintendent.
Hillard?
No. Wilson, O.W. Wilson, named his, took the commissioner out of the police department. He said, "Commissioner is a politician." He said, "If I'm going to be the head of this police department, it'd be superintendent."
Mm-hmm.
So Mayor Richard J. Daley made him superintendent,
Mm-hmm.
and they've used that name since.
Wow.
You know, that's awesome, and it took that one thought of his to bring it into a place that had never been before.
Right.
And that's what this particular conference is all about.
Tell us about it.
Well, you know what, the conference is called, as you already know, Advanced Life Revelation. Even as Dr. Van Pelt just spoke, coming into an environment such as the fire service at a time where women was not necessarily women were not.
Can you speak up a little bit? I think.
Sure, no worries. Let me try it here. Is this better?
Mm-hmm.
Where women were not necessarily a considered commodity. And coming on this job, like, women can't just do this job. Give me a break. They got to be 6'4" and brute strength and all this other stuff. But women bring something to the table that was not a consideration before. And we work smart, not hard. And we bring to the table an opportunity for the fire service to be looked upon as something different. Meaning that if this particular room was on fire, let's consider not just breaking the door down and rushing against the element of the superheated gases and smoke. You know, the mindset has been a part of progress. Now there's devices that can look through the wall to let you know if it's viable, if it's feasible, you know, what tactics should be deployed. So that's what the conference basically gives you, a different perspective of what the norm is, but doesn't have to be. You know, the norm says that it's this, this, and this. You know what? Well, let's think outside the box. As a matter of fact, let's just break the box down and not be contained. So that's what the conference offers.
You're going to have two people with the same amount of opportunity end up in two very different places. Carmelita, I don't know how many people she talked to back then about getting into the fire service, right? And many of them wouldn't do it. They just wouldn't do it. But now they don't have a job. They barely can make it. And here she is getting ready to retire.
Mm-hmm. But I commend her highly, because I can't see myself in a 20 below zero weather.
You know, it hasn't been easy. But
Holding the fire hose.
It hasn't been easy. but it has been necessary because they said you only grow outside of your comfort zone. Had I stayed in my comfort zone, then I probably would have stayed in my environment. I'm born and raised on the west side, and the reason
You're a West Sider.
I'm a west sider.
Where?
I grew up around California and Monroe.
Northwest, almost.
Well, actually, anything south of Madison is the south. Is the
Still southwest.
Absolutely,
Yes.
right,
Southwest
right,
is the
right.
northwest, almost. We didn't get to Madison yet.
Well, okay, just one block. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I'm a West Sider as well.
What part?
But I was true West. I was,
You must have been in K-Town.
not quite. I lived in Cape Town at one time, but my beginning was Sawyer and Roosevelt.
Oh, okay.
Sawyer and Douglas, actually, closer to Douglas Boulevard.
That's in the 5th District.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And then from there to Spalding and Roosevelt, and from Spalding and Roosevelt to the Army, from the Army back to Roosevelt, and then 13th and Harding, and then moved further north to, well, eventually ended up at Madison and Central. No, actually 5800 on Madison. I bought the theater there, the State Theater.
Wow, I wish it was still there.
Yeah, it's a police department. It's a parking garage there.
Could have been best served as a theater.
Yeah, it was best served. By the time that we had it, you know, the agency, I had the detective agency at the time, the Blackstone Rangers and the D's were fighting each other, and they had killed someone in the theater just before we bought it. And they showed the strength one day. They told, they got into a little argument, and D stood up and said, "D, stand up." No, K-Town, stand up. K-Town, stand up. And people in K-Town stood up. And then I guess there was maybe 40 or 50 of them. And then one said, "Vice Lord, stand up." 40 or 50 of them. Somebody said, "WL Bureau of Investigation, stand up." And about 200, 200 security guards stood up. It was always 200 or 300 security guards in the theater just watching the movie, you know, off duty. And so the people felt safe sending their kids down there.
And that was wonderful that you provided that space for them.
Yes. And, but what really got me, a few years ago, I was falsely sued by a company who claimed that I owed them some money, and went before a judge. The first judge I went before, when I walked into the courtroom, I saw her getting up and walking to the rear. And I walked over to the clerk and I gave her my name. I said, "I know I'm a little late." She said, "Who are you?" I told her. She said, "Oh, your case was transferred down to Judge Burrell." I said, "Why?" She said, "The judge said you're a friend of hers. She couldn't be fair." so I said, "Okay." So I went back to see her first, and she said, "Man, as often as I was on your show, and people commended me for my service, and commended me for the conversation that we have, how am I going to stand and be fair?" So anyway, she said, instead of doing that, I sent it down to Judge Burrell. I told him about who you are, and he could handle it. So okay. Get down there the next week. It was transferred to another judge. It was transferred 6 times. I didn't get a chance. It went back to Burrell. When it went back to Burrell, I'm sitting there in the audience, and the judge looked down. "Come up here, sir." I walked up. He said, "Where's the lawyer on this case?" He said, he's running around different courtrooms, Judge. He said, get him in here right now. I don't mean after a while, I mean right now. So they sent the sheriff out looking for him. And he had told me to have a seat. He said, I could throw this case out, but they'll want to motion it back up and waste your time. I said, okay. So I sat down. And he called the case, he said, after about 5 minutes, he said, where's the lawyer? Judge, he said, he'd be right in. He's in front of another judge. He's coming right in. Okay. So he was talking to some other people. He was hearing some other cases there. So finally, they said, the lawyer's here now, Judge. Oh, you people have a seat for a second. He commenced to cuss that lawyer out.
Really?
Who do you think you are? Got people important people sitting around in my courtroom waiting for you. He said, I don't know anything about important people, Judge. He said, I'm just trying to, he said, okay, from now on you better know your opponent. Because if you ever come to my courtroom like that again, I'm finding you in contempt of court. Yes, sir. He said, now, with that said, I'll let you know now. I know Mr. Lillard. I like Mr. Lillard. Mr. Lillard used to take care of us shortest when he had a movie theater on the west side.
He remembered you from back then.
I said, oh, no.
That's why they probably kept transferring your case around, because everybody knew you.
Right, that's what it was. That's what he said. When he said that, the judge said, when he said that, he said, well, Judge, he says, been to 6 other courtrooms, and they all know and like Mr. Lillard. So if you want to hear the case, I know you're going to be fair. He said, yes, I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be fair, and keep that in mind. In other words, no lawyer tricks.
Right.
Just, tell it like it is and forget it.
Yes.
So we both asked for discoveries. And my discovery was I want the person who say they saw me sign this document at 8 years. I mean, for 5 years instead of 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a 3-year loan, and I paid it 3 months over. And my accountant saw it and said, hey man, what are you doing? Why are you paying this? I said, well, I had 3 years. He said, yeah, but you're paying it 3 months over.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness! So I called. It was four different companies. My broker got me a loan from 4 different companies to make up what I needed. And I called each one of these companies. One of them said, "Oh, sure is." They sent me the refund right away.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you were paying all 4 of them.
Right.
Okay.
So the other 3 said, "Oh no, you had 5 years." I said, 5 years? Are you crazy? Are you looking at the amount of money I'm paying you per month? You add that up to 5 years. You think I would pay you like that? Pay you that much money for the? I said, forget it. I said, you gonna give me my money back? No. I said, okay. I didn't get around to filing the suit, but then they filed a suit.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 of them. The first case was called. My lawyer and I went before the judge. My lawyer was my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I know he was looking out for my interest, but it was just backwards. You know? He said, he went in and talked with the other lawyer. He came back, I made us a good deal. I said, what's that? Less than half. I said, less than half? What are you talking about, less than half? Well, I got it down to $7,000. They said you owed $16,000, so that's less than half. I said, man, I'm not giving these people no $7,000. I don't owe them $7,000. I said, they owe me money. He said, WL, you and I are both too busy to be arguing over $7,000. Give them $7,000, get rid of this, and we're out of this. We don't be running to court every other week or so. I said, I'm doing that for you, Chester, but okay. He said, now the next time, I said, next time I handle it myself.
Right, right.
And that's why I was in the court. And I couldn't wait to tell him, when the judge, when I asked for discovery, I told him I want the guy who said that he saw me sign this for 5 years, standing with me in front of the judge. See, a defendant has the right to be confronted by his accuser.
Right.
That's right.
So he said, he wrote me back, we're going to have the best copies that I can find, because I told him I want the original document that I allegedly signed. We're going to have the best copies that we can find, and president of the company representing them in Chicago would be here in court with me. I said, what about original person who saw me sign these documents, don't you understand? And original documents, don't you understand? He wrote me, I understand. I'm going in and ask for a dismissal.
Finally, you had to just about solve your own case.
I did solve it.
But it
You
just
know?
started with a thought, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
It started with a thought, and it started with
No,
a
actually
standard.
not just really a thought, but knowledge.
Well, correct. Okay.
Right.
Thank you for the correction. But the standard that you wouldn't accept anything less than that.
Right, absolutely.
Absolutely, and that's great.
And that's opened doors for you all through your life, because you talk about where you moved here, there, here, all over 5th District, as a matter of fact, all of the areas you talked about that you moved to. There were other people all around there too. They
Right.
couldn't move, they couldn't go forward, but you were able to go forward because of your state of consciousness. That's what is so important, and that's the reason why we're raising that in the Advanced Life Revelation, because everything that we're experiencing is based on our state of consciousness. Our reality is based on what we think. So if we think there are no jobs, then there will be no jobs. If we think there's no money, there will be no money. Whatever we're thinking, what we're spending our time focusing on is what's coming to us. And so the conference is about looking at who we really are, not trying to get you to think something differently. Forget that. Who are you? And what kind of power do you have, and how, and what's the base of that power? And that's what the conference is about, bringing that out to the front. That's why we said with the statement, Oliver Holmes, that a human mind, once stretched by a new idea, never regains its original dimensions, because what we're speaking about in the conference opens the mind up to possibilities
Yes.
that other people may not have,
Yes.
have not even thought about, dreamed about in the past. It's a powerful, powerful event. And hopefully Tony can come down.
And tape it. I'm sure he will. He's very community-minded, you know, and we have one mission, that is to pull our people together.
Right.
You know, the mission of the society is to keep us separated. They don't have to worry about blacks separating themselves, because we separate ourselves from each other all the time.
Yes.
You know, the minute I get a dime more than I've had already, I'm moving out, I'm moving away. I'm trying to move over to somebody else's community. It don't matter, just get away from my community. You know, I had people come to me. I stayed on the west side, moved in the movie theater. I had a friend who owned a hair product company. We did security for his company, and I had a bodyguard with him. He said, I got your condo next door to me on the north side. I said, man, I ain't looking for no condo on the north side. He said, but you got to get out of the ghetto, man. You're living in the ghetto. I said, I live in what they call the ghetto, but that ghetto doesn't live in me.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. You can create whatever you know, your reality. You can create your own reality.
Right.
There. Just like you get in the theater. The
Right.
theater is, you know, how many people of our persuasion could actually go out and buy a theater, you know, and set it up?
And I think I was 28 years old when that happened.
Oh,
See?
wow. That's a story
powerful.
that is definitely a story that that young people need to hear, because they can understand that it's not indigenous of an age or skin color or anything else, where I'll use the senator's term as a persuasion. It's about how many people believe they can. As I just heard one of you say something, and you made me think about the fact that when you know who you are, it doesn't matter what people say. You know, you were
Absolutely.
in the surrounding, you was on the west side, you weren't trying to change your geographical location because you knew what you had inside of you.
Right.
So what's inside of you, it doesn't matter whether you're on the north side, east side, south side, or west side. If it's in you, it's going to come out regardless as to where it is. And so a man thinketh, so is he. And that's what the conference brings to the forefront for us, to understand that, you know what, our everyday lives, we're just beaten down. Our everyday lives, we're challenged with so much that is distractions. That's all it is. It's a distraction. And this conference brings the awareness and the awakening to let you know that, you know what, forget all that. They're doing their part. You need to morph or be who you believe you are. You know, it's not about the surrounding, it's not about anything else. It's about what's in you. All of that other stuff is just outside of you. it can't harm you. It may get on you, but it's not in you. And that's the concept of people understanding that, wow, you know, I tell you, once you go to the conference, you realize that your mindset is a little different. Now, I used to be a very judgmental person. And a friend of mine used to tell me my standard is too high because there's just certain things cut and dry I'm just not dealing with. But then I have to realize that all of that plays a part in pulling off various layers to find out who I really am and what I truly have to offer. As I was sitting in the back in the audience listening to you guys, you talked about how you had the entrepreneurs, the business owners, and the politicians in the same room. But everybody don't get it. You know,
don't get it.
Everyone don't get it. I'm one of 8 children. We're from the same mold. We're taught the same way, taught the same environment. But we are different unto ourselves because you were presented the same, but your perception and your belief system was different. And that's the difference of what's happening with our community. And when you bring Ms. Brenda's project to the table with the awareness of what the senator is bringing to the table, you know, firefighting, I'm just going to start fighting a fire of a different type. It's a proactive fire. It's a fire. We basically come to people after you dial 911. But there's a concept that people need to understand that our communities are burning down. And we need to proactively find out what the root problem is. As Brenda was talking, the people that are served in her program, I think she called it self-medicating. They're basically trying to numb what's really hurting them. But this conference allows you to go inside your deepness yourself and understand this is not just a salve that you put on your skin. This is something that you can bring forth for yourself and realize, you know what, that happened to you. That was a distraction. That's part of the process, but that's not who you are. Who you are is part of the revelation of what Dr. Van Pelt is showing.
Yeah, because we share about in the book of Genesis where Cain killed his brother. He killed his brother Abel, and then when God said, "Where's your brother?" he dissed God. He like, "Am I my brother's keeper or something?" You know, so God banished him out of his presence. But if you read on, Cain went out. He was banished from the presence of God. He was a murderer, and he went out and built a city and named it after his son. Now, he didn't go try to get an apartment, a Section 8 apartment. He didn't try to, go get a little shanty. He went out and built an entire city and named it after his son. And this guy was a murderer, banished from the presence of God. But he knew that he had the ability to achieve the things that he could conceive because it was his birthright. And that's what the Advanced Life Revelation is about, bringing us to that place, to the precipice of everything that we've struggled through, to the precipice of our lives to see how much more is out there that we could actually be doing to advance civilization, but we have to change our mindset to let it happen.
Plus, we got to do a number of things to awaken the black mind, extract the black brain. Okay, what do I mean by that? Even, I started this year telling the truth about presidents. We don't have anything to do with electing a president. That's why they use the phrase, all politics are what?
Local?
The president's not local. If all politics are local, that's what we should be focusing on. But our brain is off in the sky somewhere talking about what he's not doing. We elected him. You ain't elected him. He was appointed to do a job, and he's going to do that job regardless of what. They're going to let him do all kind of stupid stuff to lead up to doing that job. So he got to make the public think he's crazy and he's stupid to be doing the stupid things that he's
getting away
told
with.
them that he would do. Look at what Bush did. Bush allowed them to blow up the Twin Towers in New York, then started a war in
Iraq.
Iraq, yeah. And guess what? They had they found later that Cheney had a contract 3 years before the war to rebuild the oil refinery. They knew they were going to blow it up. They didn't know when, but they knew they were going to eventually blow it up.
Yeah, he also, the crash of the housing market was under him.
Right.
A lot of people lost it. They said it was the greatest transfer, the largest transfer of wealth in the history of this country. The housing crash.
Right.
People lost everything. People who had owned homes for years had lost their homes.
Right.
Under him. And got us in the war that we didn't need to be in.
But that was his job. His job was to do that. You know, and his father was supposed to do it, but his father changed his mind and said, let my son do it.
Yeah, well, he didn't get his second term because
no, he didn't want the second term. He didn't want the second term. He wanted to hurry up and get out. Let somebody go in for 8 years and forget about the Bushes. Because Jesse told us, stay out of the bushes.
Yes, stay out of the bushes.
So then they brought him back in. Now look at what happened when they asked Gore to run. What did Gore say? I'll run, but I don't want Bill Clinton nowhere near my election. I don't want no support from him. I don't want any endorsements from him. Let him stay out of my election.
Yeah, to the end.
Why? He was a vice president for him. He was so popular that he was impeached but not convicted.
Right. Right. He made a mistake with that one. He figured it out later, but it was too late.
What?
That he needed Clinton's support because Clinton was still popular.
No, he didn't.
He didn't need it.
He was the most popular person. He was the most popular person in the world at the time. He knew that if Clinton had supported him, there's no way he could have lost the election.
Oh, so you said he wanted to lose the election?
No, he didn't want to lose. He was just told to run, not win.
Not to win. I get it. I get it.
He knew. He see certain high-up politicians understand that the Constitution is absolutely true when it says, because the American public may not be sophisticated enough to elect the right person to the office of president, we have the Electoral College to straighten it out. Now, I understand that. And I understand that they have enough people in the Electoral College around the country to do whatever, to give them enough votes, regardless of how many votes you get, they'll give them enough electoral votes to get over here.
Right.
Hillary beat that boy by almost 3 million votes.
Yes.
And he still become president.
Right.
Gore ended up beating Bush anyway.
Right.
But when the electoral votes was counted, they put Bush in. The people were so infuriated because they thought they had elected a president.
Right.
They filed a motion with the Supreme Court. They had a hearing. Said, "Where's Mr. Gore? Mr. Gore's not here. Well, we can't have a meeting. We can't have a hearing without the victim. We're the victim. We voted for him." Okay, I understand what you're saying, but get Mr. Gore here. I'll give you 10 days. Next time up. Okay, are we ready? Yes, Your Honor. Okay. Where's Mr. Gore? Mr. Gore said he had a golf game. Now the people are madder than hell at Gore.
Right.
Gore saying, I don't want to go lay down next to Kennedy. I knew it wasn't my turn. And I don't want to take a chance on not doing exactly what I'm told to do and get killed. So I don't want to be president.
Well, you know, that's interesting. And that comes back to belief. A person does what they believe. So I would assume that Gore did believe that in his heart that was the situation, and he chose not to be a part of it. And as people, we need to believe whatever it is that we choose to be.
We chose not to be a part of what?
I said he chose not to allow the end to be his demise.
Right. That kind of end, right?
Right. So, and it's the same belief that we as people, you said that what it's going to take more for us as a race of people. It is. but it's gonna start with the mind.
That's
I believe
right.
it is Romans 12 that says, you know, I've always known the first verse. I beseech you, brethren, of the mercies of God, present your body a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable as thy reasonable service. But the second verse said that your mind has to be renewed, and it's the mind that allows you to stay fresh and ever changing and ever adaptable to the situation. But it's the third verse that I'm going to talk about, belief, because it says, God has given every man a measure of faith, and faith and belief are on the same scale. So it's whatever you believe you can do, you can go out there and get it. In life, being a firefighter was not something that people thought I could do. I actually got this job on a dare. My brothers were going to take the exam with his friends, and they told me I couldn't go. So when they came to pick him up, they left me on the curve. Well, that teed me off. Have you ever been involved with a teed-off woman? So I hopped on the bus and went to Wells High School, took the exam. Ironically enough, because I believed I could do it. They failed, I passed. 28 years later, I had no intentions of being a firefighter.
Now you're a captain.
You understand? So it's about belief. However the motivations are, whether it's someone daring you, whether it's demise, whether it's something that's bad for you, just take that, say thank you to the certain situation,
Can I tweak
and make
that a
the
little
most
bit?
of it. Sure.
Belief has no power. Your power was you knew you can do it.
That's it. She knew it.
Knowledge.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
The
A lot of
knowledge of
times,
your brain, your strength, and your see. People
Right.
go around talking about
Knowledge.
believe. I don't have no belief system. You know, if I don't know, I don't know. If I know, I know. Well, don't you believe in God? No, I know God.
right.
Simple as that.
And she knew she was going to pass the test. That's why she
Right.
went.
Right.
She didn't just believe it, she knew it. But you know, I wanted to mention, because I know we're going to close soon, that every one of us have the same wind blowing on us, the same challenges, the same wind, and the poverty, sickness, health, divorce, marriage. Everybody goes through the same kinds of things. But one of my mentors, personal development mentors, Jim Rohn, he always said, what matters is how your sail is set. Because if your sail is set correctly, no matter how that wind blow, you're going to end up where you're supposed to go.
Right.
But if your sail is set incorrectly, when the wind blow, you may think you're going to Los Angeles, but you'll find yourself in Venezuela or somewhere, you know, because your sail was set wrong.
Right.
So the conference is about setting the sail. That's all. Because we're not trying to tell you what to achieve. We're trying to open up your mind to see what you can achieve.
Yes.
And the power of it.
And all achievers know. See, we've been indoctrinated into a society who say you got to say believe, you got to do this, and you got to do all that. No. All you got to do is know what you're doing and know how you're doing it and when you're doing it, and do it.
And that's how you got the theater.
That's how I've
28
done
years
everything.
old. You just knew.
That's how I've done everything in my life, you know. I took the exam. My first law enforcement job was at the penitentiary. At that time, it was one department, Department of Public Safety. And the Department of Public Safety had the highway police, correctional officers, forensics department. I took the exam first for forensics as a fingerprint technician because I read a book that was trying to get people to register into the school to become a fingerprint technician. I read the book and became a fingerprint technician.
Because you can do whatever you think you can do.
Hello? So I took that exam, passed it, and was calling every day. I called the state every day. And he said, look, he said, Mr. Little, I'm going to tell you the truth. They're not going to call you. I said, why not? He said, well, I said, that's discrimination? He said, no, it's nothing like that. He said, the department is full of people who want to be in forensics. You got highway patrol people who are waiting to get into forensics. You got correction officers waiting. You got, all people all in that department, in that big department, and different divisions waiting to get into. He said, plus prisoners. He said, you know how many prisoners you got in there who are fingerprint technicians and into other areas of forensics? They get that service free. If you don't give them a stipend. So I said, well, how do I get into the department? How do I get into forensics? He said, get into one of the other departments and then transfer over. When the first, put your name up first, and if you got a good standards, you'll be first. I said, okay. So he suggested corrections. So I took the exam. I was 20 years old then. I had put my age up to 25. You had to be 25 to work for the state. So I'm walking around with my uniform on. The sergeant come in. Lillard, what are you doing here? I said, I think I'm working. I said, what do you think? He said, yeah, but what are you doing here? I said, be more specific. He said, look around you. I look around me. I said, what are you looking for? I said, what am I looking for? He said, you're only 25 years old. I said, that's what the law says, 25. He said, those legislators, they don't know what the hell they're doing. He said, they set those standards. He said, but we accept it because you have to take an oral exam, and the oral exam is made up by the department. And I'm a part of that. He said, to take that exam and pass it, you got to be at least 35 years old or better. So what the hell are you doing here? And you're only 25 years old. I said, what if you knew I was only 20?
What would you say, huh?
So anyway, but they made a mission of attempting to get rid of me. Every little thing I did, I came in one day, after a cell shakedown, I came in and it was 80 degrees in the shade. And I put on a jacket for some reason, and I put the jacket on and was doing this, and I felt something. I said, a cigar was in my pocket. I took it out and threw it in the garbage. And then I was called an hour after I was on the job, come into the captain's office. I went to the captain's office, all the brass was in the office. They threw me against the wall and searched me. I said, what are you looking for? You just shut up. You guys know the routine. They searched. Take him to his locker. They took me to the locker and they searched the locker, searched all around the locker, and then the lieutenant looked at my face and smiled and grabbed the jacket. And he started searching the jacket, and I saw the smile leave his face. I said, those fools were trying to set me up with a cigar.
They probably had drugs in it.
No, I noticed when that happened, I thought about that number. I saw a number on the cigar. A prisoner's number was on the cigar, and we had done a cell shakedown the day before. And they want to say I stole the cigar during a cell shakedown.
But you even thought their plan.
Right. So, just follow me. I don't know why I would put that jacket on as hot as it was and primp in the mirror. I felt that cigar, pulled it out and threw it away. See, that's your conscience.
Right.
Leading you at all times. God leading you. See, God is inside you to lead you and guide you wherever you want to go.
That's right.
But we want to take that someplace else. What if you were robbing a bank? God will show you how to get away. Why? Oh, you think God cares something about those people's money or somebody's money? It ain't nothing to God. Ain't nothing to God. God is in you to protect you. So, but what you do, God would attempt to lead you this way, but you decide, no, I want to go the other way because police may be over there. And you go the other way, and then you get caught by the police. And, if I follow my first mind. Ain't no first mind, fool. God is simply to lead you, but you didn't follow.
And that's, I guess, the same thing with Cain. You know,
Right.
God was in him still to lead him, to bless him, to be able to build a city.
Right.
And we struggle with building a house, getting a house, getting a home. Don't know if we're going to be able to get a home. I bet it was no time in your life that you thought you might not have a place to stay. You always knew you were going to have some place to stay.
That's right.
That was never a doubt. But there are people walking around right now, right in this area, who don't know if tomorrow they have a place to stay. That's why the advanced life revelation is so important. It's about bringing people to that state of consciousness so that they can see all that belongs to us.
I tell you what, you guys have piqued my interest, so I want to be there. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to leave it to you guys to talk Tony into coming to tape it.
Okay.
Excellent. Excellent.
You do that. It's February 19th. It's Chicago South Loop Hotel at 10 a.m.
And you'll remind us before that. We want to have you back to talk about more. You can bring some more to guests if you want to, some more participants, I should say, to keep it promoted until that time.
Okay. Sounds good.
Is there a website that people can go to?
Yes. Website, YouTube, or starplanettv.com. Starplanettv.com. Where are you in it right now? You're watching it right now on Star Planet TV. If you're not on Star Planet TV, it's on YouTube. So you can watch this up until doomsday. We'll see you this time again. Oh, ladies, what would you like to leave the audience with?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us on and just making sure that everyone's in the place. South Loop Hotel is where it's going down February 19th. So,
and it's a Monday. It's President's Day.
Brenda, come up, Brenda. Come up and say bye-bye to people.
It's President's Day, so a lot of people are off.
Walk around the back, just you can come right up in the middle.
So understanding that, hey, you know, there's something more in store for you in life. Come find out what it is.
That's right.
Ladies.
Hi.
Okay. Down just a little more, a little bit more. Just go down a little bit. There you go. There you go. Okay, now what would you like to say, Brenda?
Well, the conference is going to be fantastic. We already know that.
Look at the camera, don't look at me.
And we already intend on bringing 5 of our women along to give them another look at spiritual reality that they can continue to enlighten their own lives.
And we invite everybody. We would like to have everybody come and see. The Bible says there's a season, a time and a season to every purpose, and this is a season for it. It's for growth and progress.
All right. You guys heard that. It's February 19th at the South Loop Hotel.
At 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Mm-hmm. That's on a Saturday, right?
It's on a Monday.
On a Monday.
President's Day. President's Day.
Oh, that's a
holiday. Right.
Okay.
And you can get tickets on eventbrite.com, or you can go to patriciavanpelt.com and put your name in, and I'll send you the information.
And we got to start lobbying for a Barack Obama Day. We'll see you this time again tomorrow.
With Straight Talk.